and we end up with a mirrored thing, and that actually looks like some street sections that exist in the world, maybe, except that's a sidewalk instead of a median strip. But if we get rid of what that does, that mirror does, it lets us effectively just write half of our code, and we end up with a mirrored street section. And if I turn mirror off, come on, there's no special mirror, then it only gives you that half. Cool? Okay. So, what I want you guys to do is I want you to come up with some street sections that would apply around your building in Macquarie Park. I know Macquarie Park has designed their own street sections. You can follow those, or you can play around with it yourself. I don't mind. But what I'm hoping to see is at least 2 or 3 street sections for your building, around your building, that consider pedestrian widths, roads for cars, whether or not those roads are wide enough for parking. So that means you might end up with a different section here for parking, right? Parking might have a different camber to it, who knows? It doesn't, but maybe just do it so we can see it. And then I want to see those sections represented in a similar way to this. Okay? I'm not going to teach you, I'm not going to spoon feed you guys how to do this. You guys can work that out yourselves, right? You guys know how to make something that looks like this. If you're going to put trees in some of your sections, go pick a tree. Okay? Go find one. There are nice trees. You don't have to be a botanist to go find a nice tree. You're in Australia, pick some gum trees. I want to see at least 2 different species of tree. Okay? And I want you to basically match this page. I don't care about the text.
Hey Andrew.
Yeah.
May I suggest a more illustrative outcome for the street section than just the plain section? Can we turn it into 3D? I got very interesting.
Yes and no. So this is the next thing I'm going to throw at you guys. I want you to also create a 2-dimensional plan of those streets around your building. Okay, so these numbers here.
Can I ask the students, because we already done envelope last week, and we have the street
Sure.
section this week, so
Sure.
maybe we can combine them together during the tutorial.
Do you want to
let them to practice, and then we can talk through in the last hour or so?
That is easy, as long as we don't do.
But it could be.
As long as we don't do. As long as we don't do this.
I'm thinking to do this actually. So this is just gonna be one street section.
Do you want to?
But if we model and
Do you want to code that?
This would be quite easy.
Do you want to talk through it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Yep. So what I do expect though is this. This is a stock standard way of representing street sections in urban planning. Every council expects it in their reports. If you're not doing this, then you're a laughing stock in the urban planning world. So everything that I'm going to ask you guys to do is something that I would expect to see in a professional report or document of some sort. So I'd like to see at least 2 or 3 of these for your streets around your building. Okay? I know we said that we were going to have a break at 12 o'clock. But I think we should have a break now. Because we've just finished this section. So let's try and aim for a 30-minute break. When we come back, Leo's going to run through some illustrative work based on what we've just done. Okay, what we did last week and what we've just done, And if we have enough time, we can talk about isochrones. We don't have to do isochrones. Hence why, you know how I said last week, hey, we might change things up. It's purely on how long it takes to teach them. I don't know how, I wasn't sure if this was going to take 1 hour or 3. Hence, we'll see where we get to with the isochrones. Okay. Everyone on the internet okay? That's not the internet.
So, what part of the assignment will this be?
Huh?
It'll be the first assignment.
This is the first assignment.
Yeah.
And I'll also explain what's happening with the first assignment when we get back.
Okay.
Okay? But one of the exercises is street sections with a choice of tree and a nice illustrative document that tells us what's happening. So, not to be spoon feeding you guys, but I will. One of the most important things that you can ever see on a section is a person. I don't care if it's a section of a chair, a section of like a studio apartment, a section of a giant mega corporation building or an urban plan. A person is going to set your scale better than any scale bar. Okay? I can see here quite reasonably the scale of the street that we're on. I don't even have to see the 4 meters. Make sure there's people on there. Make sure there's cars on there, at least one or two cars, to tell us how those cars are interacting with the road. These roads look really tight. They're really, really tight, right? So that is going to give us an impression of that, and make sure there is some level of building on that section so that we also know the scale of what's happening around your street. Because these buildings are quite small compared to the buildings that you might be working with at Macquarie Park. And I can't stress enough, ground lines need to be heavier than everything else. Because that's that's like the hard limit of what's happening. Line thickness matters a lot. It doesn't bother me too much. It's pretty obvious for me that there's a ground line and what that is. But obviously we're also drawing ground lines, but I've seen far too many sections from students that don't have a ground line. And so what I do is I imagine that building is a spaceship instead of a building, because that's what not having a ground line means, is you're flying somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Also, have some fun with the illustrative part of it. It doesn't have to look like this. It can have some coolness to it. If you want to do something, if you don't want to use Illustrator, if you want to do it in 3D and render it, if you want to do it in, however you want to represent it, as long as it's an image in a PDF at the end of the day, I'm happy. Okay? Okay, lunch. Let's do lunch. Oh, internet people.
It's 11 o'clock.
I know, so what?
Brunch.
It's a break. Recess. Let's call it recess. Internet people, are you around still?
Yep.
Cool. Leo, the student. I know you can't access Moodle still. I can't do anything about it. You need to contact Dean Utian.
I'm gonna write an email because I don't have access to Moodle as well. I'm furious about it.
Why? What's
Because
on there?
But we need to post stuff on there and
Do we?
feedbacks, right?
Well, are we using Moodle for feedback? Yeah, we're trying to.
Yeah.
Look, if they don't give it to us soon, we'll just make a Slack, okay? The only thing there's nothing on there that you haven't received, Leo, the student. So you're not missing anything. But if you're not on there, it might mean that you're not enrolled. So you might need to contact the right people. I can't enroll you. It's the student center.
Can we still use Slack regardless? So we have a way of communication other than email?
We can look.
Andrew, do you want me to create a Slack group right now? We were waiting for a week now.
Has anyone got
Sorry
questions?
to put too much pressure on your shoulder.
Oh no! Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now.
Do the updates and then turn that on.
Yes.
The best time to get me to do anything for this class is right now.
By the way, if you are working in the industry, later on, a good way to get what you wanted quickly is to ask them to do it right now.
Oh, they won't do it unless they do it right now.
Yeah. Andrew, can you give me? Oh yeah, I think I do.
You're in this list.
Yeah, can you also send me the Zoom meeting link?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wait, Andrew, if I'm already using Slack with a different email, does that mean I have to sign in, sign out every single time I want to?
What email?
Oh,
When you sign into Slack,
yeah.
when you sign into a particular team, like server, you can sign in with different email addresses.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to use a different email, just come up here whilst we're doing lunch and type your email in.
But is this more like I'm using my other emails?
Cool, I don't care.
Yeah, but it works?
It should work, but you can put your whatever email you want in. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm first time using Slack. I'm a bit confused with the interface.
You'll work it out.
We get a download application.
Pardon?
We got a download application.
It's a web app. You can also download a desktop version. You'll work it out.
Yeah. My BIOS crashed.
Oh, your BIOS crashed.
It's just very wicked.
You'll work it out. You don't need me.
Andrew,
Should I turn
who's
it
the
off?
student who needs the enrollment on Moodle?
His name is Yuki Wu.
Okay.
Y-U-Q-I.
Yes. I taught him last year as well.
Yeah, he's around. He's the Leo that I keep talking to.
All right. His name is Leo. That's why.
That's free food, man.
Okay, see you guys in 30 minutes. No problem.
Any question?
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't have any Slack answers, unfortunately. I'm trying myself to never do you need Slack?
Oh no, I have Slack already, but like I have a different.
Yeah, same here. Feels
Wait,
like
does that mean you have to, keep changing every single time you want to type it?
I don't think so. I think you can switch from different groups. Let me have a look. Oh, yeah. All right. I know this one.
I'm gonna.
You forward that link to.
I'm gonna have to
Oh yeah, I think
write
I
notes
would
about everything.
I might just
Literally the most confused person ever. Ever. I like.
Maybe you can try the email address that you use for Slack. And
Oh, that I didn't.
you add it already. Then when you open Slack, you should automatically pop up the email channels.
What'd you do? Did you do any extra after I left?
Nope.
No, you haven't even started the nails.
It's really popular for.
You want to do the nails there?
Guys. For our computational group, HDR is also very popular. But for the entire corporate, it's more tended to Teams.
Where are you going now?
Slack is cute. Just when you need to do video calls and everything, it's not that integrated.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
Yeah, Andrew just invited me to. We'll change his
Do you still need to change your account?
It's fine, yeah, I don't moderate.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, dude, no, why don't you get food? Go get food. There's like free food outside.
Dude, no, I've already eaten.
Yeah. So like right outside the
Dude,
school.
dude, I don't need food. I'm built different. I'm built different.
Go get food.
So I need to start my assignments.
Good luck.
My 2 assignments. That's due on Tuesday.
Good luck. Wow. Which other courses are you taking?
We are
Oh, no.
taking ubiquitous cities and
Nicole?
What?
Nicole Gardner?
Yeah, both of them are kind of cool. And then I think the other one is what's the other one, Russell?
Ubiquitous.
And then what's the other one?
Design theory.
Design theory, which is like philosophy.
Oh yeah.
Computer philosophy.
She's very philosophical.
Yeah, I really it works, but like you need to keep switching between like different groups.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
But I think I should be able to set up a Moodle page and synchronize everything on that as well. So I won't miss anything.
Yeah.
Even Slack will be more like a random chat and quick questions to find out. But
Yeah. That'll be much easier than like email and stuff.
exactly. And I think Andrew is probably having problem accessing his school account. But yeah, I'll try my best to get everything updated on Moodle. So all of you have access to Moodle by UQ, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, that should work better. That's
rare.
what we used to do in the
Yeah.
old days, and it worked out.
Yeah, last week Andrew was like, I was online. Andrew was saying how you're stressed out as well at the beginning.
I'm very stressed
Yeah, so
out.
I was emailing Andrew last week.
Yeah.
And I was like,
saw
where's the
that.
course outline?
Yeah, I was actually calling him personally to his
Oh my
office,
God.
and he's probably under the palm on some other projects, and yeah, he didn't really return my call either.
Yeah.
So yeah, but look, he is very good at what he's doing. So yeah, I'm sure you're in good hands.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's probably gonna hire a few. Anyways, like he's the computational design leader in cost.
Yeah.
I mean, this one, so far this course is so much better because, especially with our previous courses, we were doing what we were not like. We had all the sliders. It was all slider based basically. We never did any syntax, nothing. All sliders.
So there's no practice at all.
Yeah, so we ended up having these huge files of like loops and loops and loops.
Yeah.
And it always ended up making our computers crash.
So the tutor writes off the script and crashes your computer.
Yes,
basically.
exactly.
That's what
I
happened.
used to do that actually.
You used to do that.
And we never
That's
got
scary.
we never got explained any of like the commands or anything like that. We were kind of just told to do this, and it just happened to do that.
Connect this line to this.
Yeah, connect it. I just the hell.
So you guys now got a good foundation in Grasshopper in first year, or
Sort of. It was a bit Like we understand the
That's
very,
really
very basic commands. We understand lists, we understand trees, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't know what all like the advanced stuff is and how we can like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is a big
Yeah.
word to navigate, but after 2 or 3 years of Grasshopper, we should be fine.
I mean, it feels like they're giving us a computer and we only use like calculator app on it. We don't know anything else, you know.
Did you guys take mathematics in high school? by any chance?
Yes.
Yes.
So logics and everything is like Boolean operations, like
Yeah.
unions, difference.
That part is fine. The most annoying is when I just like get a problem and I Google it,
Oh
and then it's like this thread ended 8 years ago.
Yeah. There's no
That's what I do as well. Like when I'm coding, I still need to Google, like the Google-oriented programming.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, that's the
Like
problem.
overflows.
Happens, like even though you're a professional full-stack developer, you still need to refer to API, which is
Yeah.
so it's still like that. You can't escape from Google anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you do comp sci?
What?
Did you do computer science?
No, I did civil engineering with architecture back in the old days,
Oh.
and then computational design PhD at this point.
Did you get any like, you know, training or something for comp sci though?
You just need to have to pick it up yourself.
Right.
Like, well, computer, yeah, I think Andrew's path is more towards computer science. Like, he knows a little bit more about the technical side of even just using Grasshopper in that side. Yeah, my orientation was more towards engineering and architecture previously. And because I'm researching, you do certain amount of hands-on and just stepping into it. Yeah, and the very basics sometimes are funny point, like searching algorithms. I'm not sure yet if we got time to cover this week, but I thought we were gonna cover it next week. So that's something every computer scientist is gonna be, programmer is gonna be testing for.
That's pretty cool.
Are you interested in computer science?
Well, what I try to, myself is, I got into this course, right, and then after I started playing with code and stuff,
Yeah.
I realized you can add Python scripts
Yeah, yeah.
inside Grasshopper.
Of course.
So I just started playing with that, and then, you know, I got more into Python,
That's good.
and I did my assignment last year based on GH Python.
Oh, that's really good.
But-
But that's 2.7 narrow Python.
Yeah, but then that assignment screwed up really bad.
Which one was it?
Because the Christina one, I tried to,
Oh, you mean the
I tried to use
yeah,
computer
yeah.
vision to map, you know, an image, and to,
Yeah, no, can't do that.
Oh, nice.
but then it turned out like there was way too much thing I didn't know, and I ended up, you know,
Screwing up.
yeah. I mean, she still gave me good marks for like trying it, but it felt really bad not being able to finish it.
Especially you were working with Claire, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that sucks.
she didn't care what I was doing. She's smart, she's nice, but then she does things too much of her own way. She doesn't really like.
That's true.
Yeah, well, I think you're going down the right path. And I think ultimately what he's doing with the shape space is essentially a way to define the so, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna make things. You know, a big problem I have with scripts is like it's too computationally heavy. And I think there's way too much, you know, useless steps.
In Grasshopper?
No, when I do it.
Okay.
So what I
Yeah.
learned last year, everything was really computational heavy. We didn't use lightweight functions, things like that. With Andrew, you know, it looks like
It's
Well,
great.
I have no idea what Christina taught you last year. Was she very heavy on plugins and all of that?
we
Oh,
make
that's
a new
a lot.
plugin every week.
Around
So many plugins.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what. Yeah, you don't know what other people's right, but this is going back to the lean basics. And what I think Andrew is trying to teach you is the real problem-solving skills driven from the real AEC industry. That's why he sort of keep referring back to design, urban design reports. And that's the real section that everyone in this industry has to produce, and how we can actually optimize this workflow using computational skills. And in your employment, I'm hoping, if you get a position in architecture firms, it will be very similar scenario that Russell, you don't need to generate something quickly, and you just need to write this program and able to hand over to others, and you just need to write a short string, or even sliders will be fine, but a way to actually mimic your script to make production. And you probably need to trace back to the source, what is the problem here, and what you need to generate or deliver towards the end. And that's what street section exercise is really about. And I'm hoping to push it a little bit further. Yeah. But I know Andrew is very busy at this moment. Yeah, I just need to coordinate everything a little bit better to make sure I don't crash you guys on the assignment stuff. Because I tend to give a lot of assignment.
That's right. That's actually really good because one thing I think university has benefit is you guys are actually industry people, right? So you guys actually know what you guys need, right? So you guys can then teach us what we need to know. But with like online courses, it's more like, okay, I'll teach you everything. And then that's it. You do this and that.
Online courses are more like a warehouse or like supermarket. You just need to find whatever is useful. Like if you want to make a stir fry towards the end, you still need to find the right ingredient in the right portion.
Yeah, but it's just too much things.
Also, if you guys are interested in academic life or maybe be more versatile to other industries, like just expanding your skill set into Karomba and all of that wouldn't be a bad choice at all. Like I think someone got to teach it how to adapt to something you're not familiar with and try to adapt to that knowledge as quickly as you can. That's what really happens to me as well. So I work for HDR. It's an American company. It's everywhere now. The size is very similar to ACOM, and we're working on developing a parametric tool to facilitate feasibility studies in a particular type of industrial building, and it involves a huge amount of parameters. Like this area will derive 1.5 of that area, and this is the minimal clearance between this space and that space, and all of that. You need to just get everything together, and then really just ties back to what you know about grasshopper.
Yeah. And one thing I want to end up learning from this course, or hopefully move into, is like working on digital twins.
Digital twins?
Yeah.
How much do you know about?
No.
Andrew, are you faithful with digital twins at all?
I know what they are.
But yeah, keep going.
I've seen some. I haven't ever worked on one. I would love to work on one.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I think it's a popular idea.
Especially right now, like another course we're learning about Arduinos.
Arduinos?
Arduinos. Yeah. So I don't know.
Raspberry Pi Arduinos. Are you guys, any of our classes teaching that? If our courses teaching that?
Sorry.
I remember last year there was students doing Arduino and Raspberry Pi in third year research. Yeah, I was wondering if you were taught previously.
Ubiquitous 1, 2, 3, 4.
So,
Is it cities?
that's good.
Is it the cities one or the?
It's the city's one.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. Yeah, it's really, really universal skill, I guess. Like it applies to. It's actually, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it's something you can use for a lot of things. Not only in AEC, like a lot of medical field, engineering field. Like being able to work on a digital replication of something in real life, at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really, powerful thing.
I hope I'm not a dream killer, but in computational perspective, it's still a little bit unrealistic in actual implementation. Let me give you a real example here. The university manages we're talking about digital twins, so a major part of it is actually towards the usage and maintenance of the facilities, right? And in that sense, the entire facility management or estate management team need to be able to operate this system fluently. At this moment, we're using Archibus, which is the 2D, basically manages all the plans and putting color blocks in each room. So we are sitting in one color block, and this room have capacity 15. That's how much they know about this space. But in digital twin sense, we need to know where the AV systems are, where the pipes runs and everything like that. It really needs to be a brand new building, and it needs to be something that people really well documented along the way, and really take due diligence in that as well. And money, just show me the money. And I do think, I know quite a few good engineers in this smart building, but they're working really hard, and they're very peaceful in the field as well. I think it's going to go up, but
Definitely.
yeah. But at this moment is what I see is potential is huge. And yeah,
It's more like, yeah, it's a lot of work. More like I'm trying to sort of prepare myself for what could be done in the future. So I'm not sure how far this
that's what
year.
you're second year or third year?
Technically, I'm starting second year because last year.
Okay. Yeah, planning, understand.
Yeah. Because I know a friend who's in Canada and works for Chippy. So okay. I'm not sure how to say too much, but anyways, him himself, like, they're working on something right now, and he doing it by himself as well. So I'm just sort of catching up with him once few weeks, once in like 2 weeks, just like see how it's going. And just learn from him at this moment.
That's good. That's really good.
That's like how I got started. Got in touch with this sort of idea.
I heard it, but I never verified that. About 4 or 5 years ago, John Holland, a local tier 1 builder, or tier 2. Not anymore.
Owned by China.
Yeah, it's owned by China. It's still a tier 1 builder.
We're working with them at the moment.
Yeah, I heard this up.
Huh?
I heard this up.
Tier 1 name.
Tier 1 is big.
Then-
Yeah.
As in, they're working on SFS, City Football Stadium. So
Yeah,
you get them done.
yeah. So, have you heard of Mendy's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mendy's is a major one. Multiplex, like they're all big players. Like when you graduate, you probably will start your job hunting from these firms. So why they're tier 1? Because it's huge and there's a lot of opportunities, and they probably have the budget for research development as well. And John Holland 4 or 5 years ago started to as a pivot project. They used RFID tags for their building materials, so they can track them on time, in real time. So RFID is basically where you just a small
Your Opal card.
magnetic card. Yeah, Opal card. Yeah. Like we just tag and the information is embedded in RFID tag, and they use that to track bulk of materials, so they know where. So in construction logistics is quite important, and sometimes you're stocking material on site and you just don't know where they are. So having a system to track them is actually a very good idea. And look, we're in this industry that is very heavily tied in what's there for now and what people's skills are. If you're talking about implementations, facility management, smart city, not smart city, digital twins. So it's a good idea to actually understand how contractor works, and how building management works from that perspective. And yeah, like I said, it's not pivoting project, but it doesn't mean it's lucrative to do that. And it could end up just being one shot, or maybe it will be seized for another 10 years until the RFID is being so cheap and system is so widely used and everyone wants it again. Just like what happens to Bing. Here is actually very old. It comes from 1990s, but it only gets popular in the last 10 years or so. Because Autodesk is very rich and they put a lot of money in lobbying and ask the government and every public bodies to actually use, not saying use Revit, but saying let's use BIM, it's the next generation.
They say use Revit.
Yes, they do enforce a lot of industrial standard as well. So from what I see, it's sort of driven by vendors, but it sort of works out. Everyone is now including. It starts with government sectors. If you want to build a station, if you want to build a public hospital, you need to use BIM. And that's the requirement because they bought the concept of using BIM will save time and money based on some research, and they can't even really prove it's actually right. I'm talking about the like a Zing, the BIM, the cost of BIM.
The cost of BIM.
Or benefit of BIM, something.
The benefit.
The white book they published. Yeah, they said that we cut 30% of construction costs on BIM side. I think potentially yes.
No.
Like in terms of how chaos the real construction site is, it could. Yeah.
Not from my perspective. It's actually really bad. So it puts more stress on the designer. They actually put more risk into a project by using BIM. That's from my perspective. From a builder builder's perspective, yes, they have more control over auditing the building management process and coordinating their consultants, which I'm one of them. But as a,
10 minutes.
yeah, sure, as a designer, I'll show you.
Are there any large scale projects around here?
Huh?
Like BIM projects that are kind of like properly developed or sort of to
What do you mean by properly?
or just like smart buildings, I guess, like stuff that
What's a smart
actually-
building?
something that does react to usage.
No, I
React to
don't think so.
usage.
What do you mean based on the conversation with the digital twin?
Yeah,
There's not very many in Australia.
yeah.
From what I know publicly, the 3 towers in Barangaroo, you know those huge ones with the red and yellow fins?
Yeah.
Those guys, they have digital twins, and it's mainly at the moment from a facilities management perspective.
Yeah.
So like train stations, they have a digital twin, which is effectively you'll see them. Those screens where they've got a diagram of the track. That just tells them where the train is. Like that's how simple a digital twin can be. But then when you get into like architecture and we're actually talking about space, people want like the fucking light bulbs modelled, and they want to know when it was purchased and how long its lifetime will be, and then they can go, oh, that's 2 months away from ending its warranty or getting to the end of its workable lifetime. We're going to go do a check on it, do a maintenance.
So the value right now is more those types of tasks.
No, the value, unfortunately, that costs too much to produce those.
Well, no.
It will cost too much for a very, very long time because you need someone to model those things, and people's time costs money. And so if they're purely making a 3-dimensional model, then it's always going to be relational to people's time, unfortunately.
What's a really long time? Like more than 15 years?
Oh no, it'll be less. It'd be 6 months, depending on the size of the project.
No, sorry. Like, because you said like for a long time it won't be the case that people do that.
For a long time, yeah. So basically, I can't. I don't know, because basically, unless whilst a building is being built, there is someone making a digital twin of it as it's being constructed, then that's probably the only way to do it cheaply. And so that would require the construction teams to be modelling in BIM. To be honest, it probably needs to get to a point where people are constructing off a BIM model instead of constructing off drawings produced from a BIM model. So someone walking around a site, working out, okay, what door needs to go where, that person has to be literate in operating a 3D BIM model. And we're talking about uneducated, so they're trained in a labour, so a door manufacturer needs to be able to pick up Revit and use it. That's maybe when they'll start to happen. I don't know when that will happen. I have no idea.
I feel like back in China, like the majority of the architects, they're refusing.
Refusing?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like-
you know why?
Because, like, when it gets to use being, it means like less, how does the industry being involved into.
This is the diagram that describes what BIM's benefit should be. This is a better one. The McLeany curve. The McLeamy curve.
It's like if I'm the structural engineer and you are like the beam architect and you try to do upwards after me, then how would I get benefit from it?
Yeah, so let me that's a good example. So if this is the McLeamy curve, the traditional building construction process in BIM puts most of the effort in the construction documentation phase. So you do a little, like, you come up with some sketch ideas and you sort of get everything together and get it all ready, and then once you get to the construction documentation phase, it's like, bam, we have to spend a lot of time drawing a lot of stuff. And what BIM is doing is it's trying to push all the time and effort back into the design concepts and detailing and engineering phase. From a builder's perspective, that's great because that means they've got the easy point. Once they get involved from construction documentation, it's meant to be super easy. There's the least amount of effort, right? It's during this phase that now, because we're doing BIM and we are having to use BIM in design concepts and detailing and engineering phase, we are putting a lot of effort in. But now, in the perfect world, if a client comes to me and says, I would like to hire you to build a building, I will pay you, let's say, $1 million to design my $10 million building, which is a lot of money, to, let's say, $20 million. My $20 million building, here's $1 million. And I go, cool, I'm going to do all this work. Bam, 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 bam. I've spent literally $500,000 on your job, right, by about this point. And then the client says, oh, sorry, we're not going ahead. Where has all the risk gone? It's gone into the beginning of the job. It's gone into my part of the job, the architect's part, like the part that they put the most risk into. And so we have seen so many jobs recently, because jobs don't finish. You're lucky if you have one project per year in the commercial architecture world be completed. That's lucky. I've been fortunate to have that, and that's only because I've worked on lots and lots of different jobs because they've needed me on lots of different jobs. But some project architects, they'll sit on a job and it will get to this phase and then it will stop. I've had jobs stop because a prince has died. There's been a stadium that we've worked on in the United Emirates, the UAE, the UAE, and the only reason the job was happening was because a certain prince wanted it. Now this dude was like in his 80s, and halfway through the job, around this point of the job, he died. No one else cared about that project, so it stopped.
Did you get money? Like
We get money, but we don't get.
A whole lot of good amounts.
Yeah.
Look, you have to kind of spread the money across the whole project. And so it doesn't always work out. That's what BIM, like imagine someone asking you to deliver a design competition using BIM. All the effort that you put into BIM in the design competition, I can tell you now, is not getting paid. Design competitions are usually unpaid. We'll spend $100,000 on a design competition, and that is a risk we're putting in to win the job. And we're now expected to put in more risk because they want a BIM model. It's not, something's going wrong. The people that are making the most money, the builders and the project managers, are pushing more work onto people like us who don't get paid the big bucks. Like, they'll take 3 times the amount of fee that we will, and yet we have to do even more work making their jobs easier. So something's going wrong. And Autodesk this is why I hate, like if you ever hear me getting shitty about Autodesk, it's because of all of this shit. Every year they'll release features that make it easier for the project managers. They don't release anything for us.
Aren't you gonna earn more like if you're a Revit architect?
Pardon?
Aren't you going to earn more like if you're a Revit architect?
A Revit architect.
Yeah.
I
Other job is that.
I earn more than other Revit architects at my company. I know that. Like,
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm underpaid, sorry.
I'm underpaid.
I am underpaid.
We're all underpaid. But that's exactly why. What I just showed you there, that graph. Architect is a competitive industry, so you've got to keep your fees low to win work, and then as well you've got to basically bend over and let people fuck you to win work.
You should mean it.
Huh?
Sorry, I was saying you shouldn't get that recorded.
Well, I don't care. I'm being serious here. Like, as in, a builder wants a certain thing, and you basically have to treat them like a client. And if you're not amiable, do you want to use my computer? It's currently yep. So yeah, that's just the reality of the industry, unfortunately. And look, you could get into into construction, and you probably also get fucked. Because there's someone at the top of that corporate structure who's fucking you over.
Well, anything you do that you're gonna pay for a wage, you probably will get
At some
that.
point.
Yeah. Until you get become your own boss, and you might still have
Yeah.
clients.
For example, what I do, like as in you write a script and you charge a week's work for 5 minutes. Like you're, huh?
And then you get to fuck.
Basically, yeah. But you've got to find someone that's willing to get fucked.
So basically, if you want to get
Leo's going to talk you guys through some more graphical processes.
Yeah, I think the orientation is trying to maybe
talk them through it.
add a little bit more workload on their assignment one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, can we have a quick discussion on what needs to be delivered for assignment one?
What I'm expecting is I want to see I want a building mass,
Yep.
and I need to know need to know floor areas, workable floor areas per level.
Per level.
And I think the work that you're about to do
Yeah.
talks about that. Basically,
It's we can just combine these things and the street sections
Yeah.
into one and just adding a few more.
and we're good.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's all we
Yeah.
need.
Sounds good. So yeah, just trying to find a PDF or
Do
something
you
to
guys
reference
want
to.
lights on or off? Is that
I think, yeah, that's alright.
that's
you-
good?
Yeah.
Would you mind if I download on your desktop?
I don't care.
Okay, cool. Not sure which one it will be, but
Cox,
Yeah, it's probably
Cox is so they care about security so much. They're like, oh, people
You
are
can't install
hacking into
anything,
our
right?
computers. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, I get it. I get that a hacker might try and hack in and get like plans for the next train station and sell them to like terrorists or whatever. But no one in their right mind can navigate our like folder structure, and they work for our company. So good luck fucking finding anything if you're a hacker.
Yeah. Agreed.
So do whatever you want with my computer. All my company secrets.
Can I just take
behind
it?
a layer of incompetency.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I'll find it anyways. Hey guys, we're coming back to the tutorial, and I just want to give a more graphical example of what I want you to do in your first assignment. We learned about the building massing and how that's been driven by LEP and DCP. So basically, the floor space ratio, the height, the setbacks from last week. Do you guys still remember that? Hopefully yes, that'd be great. So it will save you a lot of effort today. And second thing is we learned about the street interface as well, right? The street interface is a way that urban designers to design the urban surrounding environment for us as human who are literally this small here. When we're facing big build, think about it, you're walking in CBD. You probably will be facing a lot of straight walls up to 20 or 30 levels. It's not really good experience at all. So urban designers will try to use things to soften this interface, like stepping back, putting a little bit tree, a wider area for people to walk by, and maybe put buffers in the middle, or maybe put stop like this sort of parking stops here to prevent people from driving down this lane. Instead, they have to drive down in the middle lanes here. But in short, this is some sort of thing maybe delivered in
in an urban design report. And coming back to why we are so interested in this as computational designers is because in this studio we want to teach you employable abilities. It's not only about making this graph itself, not only about making street sections or building massings itself, but making you understanding the AECs, at least in design language, that you might be asked by your employer to deliver something that, just like Andrew said, I want 100 street sections in the next week or so. How do you do that? Actually, that's a real problem for me. I personally work on Parramatta Light Rail project. By the way, don't spread it. It's still, I'm not sure if it's confidential or released. Yeah. Let me show you how big it is.
We're working on it too, Leo. It's very confidential.
Yeah, stage 1 was whatever. I can't talk about it.
You can. Talk about it. I'll make the video unlisted on YouTube.
Thank you so much.
I'll cut out this bit
Yeah.
before I upload it, okay?
I love you so much.
It's
That's
okay.
good. Yeah, just to give you some context how big this project is. I think it's 20 kilometers, if I wasn't wrong. Yeah. Yeah, basically this one here. And for each stop, each town center, and each interchange, we need to draw a section. And engineers will decide on how wide this road is and where are the roundabouts and all of that. And they will up their information on a weekly basis. Over the 6 months, I probably draw a few hundred sections, just what Andrew showed you. So for me, if I could use a generative, something to actually, a shape syntax, to do the same section, I'll be, very, 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 very important person. Or say very helpful in this project. But by that time, we're using Revit, and yeah, it's a little bit too tricky to draw that or with Dynamo. So yeah, but the dream is we are actually able to do that street section exercise using Grasshopper. And maybe this challenge is already solved by Andrew, but you may be facing with some similar challenges. So we're teaching you the basics from that point of making you understand what is the basic terminologies in here and generate something. Say, if I'm the boss, I'm asking you to produce urban design report, a special chapter here, I want to talk about street interface. I may change my mind how wide this number is or how wide this number is. How do you deal with that situation here? So this is the problem I'm going to pass on to you to make a very similar street section here that considers the DCPL, well, basically building height, floor space ratio, setbacks, and also a street section here. For the first few hours of this project, I want you to focus on the logic here that you can make, like basically construct a big street shape syntax for this block, with in mind that you might change the height limit of the building, the setback of the building, and the step setback of the building, and width of each of these corridors and landscape strips here as well. I want you to think about this problem very carefully and how you formulate that in Grasshopper.
Sorry, I have a question. So for the sections, I always think that sections are like 2D. So are we gonna like?
We're gonna do 3D.
So 3D asymmetrical sections.
Isometric, like this one.
Oh, cool.
So I would start with just cutting a section here and think about the section first, and then think about how we can probably see where the buildings are. But after all, this is gonna be an extruded 2D exercise. So I want you to spend some time to think about how you want to construct this shape syntax from Andrew's example here. Maybe it's not your preferred way of speaking this shape syntax. Feel free to invent your own shape syntax. Maybe you need 2 parameters to design a building envelope, or maybe 3 or 4. How do you construct the setbacks? I want you to think. Okay, so in the real world, your boss may not be a computational designer. You need to face with sort of your client or architects or urban designers yourself. So in that sense, what they're speaking to you is gonna be something like this. Give me this drawing. I want this number to be able to change. And how can you actually convert this one into your deliverables? I want you to spend 10 minutes just to write down the first part of your shape syntax. Okay? I'll put these two screens together. Okay. Much better. If you have any questions, just ask me or Andrew. Andrew, also question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a tree library that we can use? Like tree and person, something like this? Yes. Oh, no. I mean this tree here. Something graphical.
Yes, I do.
I see.
Just go to the in the bottom right corner.
Bottom right corner. Bottom right. Yep.
Like is in the taskbar.
Yep.
There's a little carrot.
Thank you.
Get
Yep.
on the other. So,
Let me just. Yeah. Just keep thinking. Think about the setbacks and building FSRs and building height limit. I'll maybe revise the script you written last week if you saved it. If not, there's no big drama because you're gonna do it